Well, g'day everyone, my name's Andre Knott. I'm your host for blankcanvastv.com, and we are changing the way you see and experience art. And today we're in New York City. It is the capital of the art world. I'm excited to be here. This is what I consider my town because it is the capital of the art world. And we're standing here on 53rd Street, right here in the heart of New York City, right in the heart of Manhattan. And we're standing at MoMA. You can see there, MoMA. Museum of Modern Art. That's the very iconic symbol, and somewhere it was very revolutionary in its time, and certainly is to this day. It still is represented as the most famous modern art museum in the world. It was begun back in 1929, and I'll tell you a bit more about it in a second. But I'm going to pan around here and show you the very iconic symbol of Museum of Modern Art, MoMA. And if anyone ever talks about going to MoMA, you know what I'm talking about right here. But right here on blankcanvastv.com, we're trying to give you an opportunity right here, out on the street, art in action, right out in the place, to actually see what it's all about. And the Museum of Modern Art, like I was saying, was actually the first truly modern art museum in the world, developed back in 1929. There were a lot of New York people with huge money getting involved in opening it up. And the idea and ideal was to bring art from all over the world and showcase modern art in its finest showcase, so to speak. But I think it's important that people know that before that, art had always been about the guild, no matter where it was in the world. The guild being the art critics of the place or the time, or wherever it was in the world. They talk about the Dutch Art Guild, the English Art Guild, the British Art Guild, and how they basically told people what fine art was. And so artists of the past like Vermeer and Rembrandt had to actually paint exactly, or try to paint exactly what the guild said they should paint. And essentially a lot of artists tried their best to go against the guild. And that comes back to what is art anyway? People ask what is art all the time, and I think that question gets answered when you realize that, you know, it's not just something that someone else says, it comes from the artist and everything that comes from within as well. I think it's important you have a look right here at this museum. And if you ever come to New York City, this is an absolute must for any person who loves art, because this here, right here, is the mecca of the art world, and certainly the modern art world. Now, inside this museum right here, the Museum of Modern Art, is my favorite painting in the world. It is called La Demoiselle d'Avignon. It was painted by Picasso back in 1907, and it was one of the most incredible works of history, probably maybe even the most famous work of modern history, at least, because what it did was it changed the way art was seen by the art community at large. Not just the art community, but the world in general. You see, it was the first abstract work in history, the first modernist work in history, and with it, Picasso changed the way art was looked at. And it took him years to really come to grapple in terms with what he was creating. You see, Picasso said to himself, and it was a very famous quote, "I could paint like Michelangelo and Raphael at 15. It took me my whole lifetime to learn to paint like a child, to paint without restraint." And early in his life, when Picasso was creating this magnificent masterwork, it was really something he had to grapple with. Artists who were looking at this work for the very first time thought they knew they were looking at something special. They knew they were looking at something that was out of the box, but they also knew that it would not be accepted by the art people of the time. The Museum of Modern Art actually bought this painting back in the 40s, and they got this opportunity to acquire it at that stage. Before that, it was a work that Picasso simply called Le Bordel. But let me give you a bit of history about it. I'll show you the painting right here. It's in every modern textbook you can think of, and I wanted you to zoom in on that if you can, if you've got that right there. This here is the first Cubist work of history. It is also the first modernist work in history, and it's the sort of artwork that really did change the way art was looked at, like I said, but for many, many reasons indeed. And you can see that there are 5 characters in the work right there, and those 5 characters, we'll talk more about this at another time, but they are essentially ladies of the night. They call it, the modern term for it was La Demoiselle d'Avignon, the young ladies of Avignon. But it was Avignon Street in Barcelona. But I'm going to talk more about that in another episode. I think it's important that you understand that if you get in to see this work of art, you really are tasting art at its cutting edge. Art where it really strikes the viewer and really does cut to the heart of the question, what is art anyway? Because that was the first modernist work. And what happened after that was nothing short of mind-boggling. because the whole art world changed after that, and the whole 20th century had so many modernist works within it, and it allowed other artists to go out and create and do things that they wanted to do in the world of art rather than what they'd been told beforehand. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Andre Knott. I am the host of blankcanvastv.com. That's what we're doing with this show, is we're making sure people get an opportunity to have their say, break it down for you, give you a chance to see it and experience it in a fun environment, out on the streets like New York City, out in the classroom if you like, but also all around the world. And if you've got any comments that you'd like to say about the show, or you've got any questions you'd like to ask, or you'd like to have a question answered by us here on the show, perhaps we'll even get some artists in to talk to you a bit more about the sort of things that you're interested in, please let us know. Write your comments right down here at the bottom of the page, and make sure you say g'day to me right here on the site. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Andre Knott. I'm your host of blankcanvastv.com. Make sure you come back again, and we'll see you on the next episode.